morning, Instagram. Hey, everybody. We have our matching Mystic shirts on. Same colors. Good morning, Facebook. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you guys be a part of this flow. What's interesting to me is that yesterday in Kelly Spencer's class, you guys can see me, but I can't see myself on the thing. If you want to take a peek, Amy, this is what Facebook did yesterday. So we're live, but we can't see ourselves on the monitor. So interesting. As long as we're coming through, that's all I need to know. I lined up the picture, so we're good. Thank you guys for joining us. It's Kelly and Mirari here this morning. We're going to be doing our flow for you guys. So just an interesting thing that I wanted Amy to kind of take a peek at is that it looks like Facebook is having a little glitch right now where we can't see ourselves, so the monitor is just black, but you guys can see us, and I can see the little eye with the number of you guys watching. So I hope that that's working for you guys. Just a reminder to make sure that you have on your device your volume turned up all the way as well. Yeah, she says she can barely hear us. How is the audio, Marty? Yeah. So, Myra, you might just have to turn your device up a little bit to hear us. Let us know if that works for you. I'll make sure that I'm projecting my voice. Yeah, sometimes the audio seems like the last couple days it's been kind of great for some people and a little difficult for others. So I would just say make sure that you have it turned up all the way on your device. Potentially even plugging your device into some sort of speaker or headphones maybe could also help as well if your audio isn't very clear on your phone. I know Tom is connecting his device to his television, so he's actually watching us from his television. So maybe you could let us know how you do that, Tom. I think you need a smart TV, right, to stream it. Yeah, all things that we're learning throughout the process here, right? We went from, using our devices and all of that social media for entertainment and just kind of scrolling nonsense, maybe news, and now we're using it to pretty much stay connected. So that's really cool. So there's a whole bunch of things I've learned personally from doing all of this. All right. Yeah, so Chromecast, so that I think that means that up top on your device, there's this little button that you can cast if you have a smart TV and are connected to the Wi-Fi. See, I know those words, but I don't really know what's actually happening to make that happen. But anyway, you guys, so thank you for tuning in. We're on Facebook and Instagram live every morning at 9 a.m. All of these videos are archived onto Facebook later, and additionally we're putting them onto Instagram TV, and we're going for our YouTube channel as well. So that's Mystic Fitness on YouTube. This is a great way to send your family your favorite videos. So if you really like flow that we do together, you can highlight the bar up top with all of the information and send it to your family, and they can do it without having any sort of commitment to YouTube, any sort of membership or anything like that. All right. Oh, yeah. So Mira says she uses a mirror to her computer. That's a great idea to kind of see the mirror image of that. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you guys feel so inclined and are in a comfortable situation where you can make a donation, you guys know where to find us. That's Mystic Fitness with our Venmo account. And you get one of those beautiful handmade masks as well that are reusable. And I think going forward, it's going to be a really great idea that we continue wearing those masks to really make sure that even upon becoming a little bit more public, we'll still keep each other safe. All right, especially those grocery workers, nurses, doctors, all of those essential workers right now. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm actually going to do some, if not most, of the flow today. I just love moving with you guys, and it's a beautiful opportunity. As a teacher, sometimes you don't always get to partake in the class, so I'm using this opportunity to take it with you guys. But for demonstrations, Mirari is going to be horizontal, sideways, so she's going to be your main point to look at when we're moving. So let's come onto our mats. We're going to come into a child's pose to start this morning. So if you need, take a couple moments to kind of move in your table pose for a second, maybe just wobbling the hips from side to side before entering a child's pose. Now, if a child's pose isn't really something that you're looking forward to jumping into right away, consider these options, potentially taking 2 blocks or, a nice pillow underneath the tush in between the knees and kind of just coming down onto the forearms, letting your head hang heavy. This is a beautiful representation of a child's pose. If none of that's calling your name, just go ahead and find a seated position. Take an inhale and exhale. Feel the weight of the hips pressing back. Relaxing the shoulders with the exhale. Allowing the neck to be nice and long. Perhaps feeling your forehead supported by the earth or a block, pillow. This child's pose is so humbling. And it's literally this bowing down. Just bowing down towards this gift of life. And it's not often we have an opportunity to just slow things down for a moment. Be still. Tune into all of the sensations and emotions that start to arise as you begin this practice. Perhaps a fluttering within the belly or heart. A gentle hum or vibration in the fingertips and toes. These sensations might be so subtle. When we take that time and energy to bring our awareness into our physical body, we have this opportunity to really experience all of the simplicity within the gentle feelings in the body. Take 3 more breaths here. With your next breath, slowly start to kind of rock the hips from side to side. Maybe walking the fingertips over towards the right, finding a deep stretch through the left side body. And then walking the fingertips over towards the left, finding a deep side stretch in the right side body. Coming back to center. And then slowly starting to roll yourself back up, sitting onto the heels, lifting your chest and finding a nice long spine. And if it's not very comfortable for you to sit back onto the heels, you might place a block right underneath the tush there. Bringing the hands to heart center, noticing the shift of energy from a child's pose and a humbling down and now to being lifted and strong in your seat. We'll begin practice with the sound of Om, opening up together and greeting our vibrations as one. Starting with a cleansing breath, inhale and exhale. And for Om, inhale. Have a beautiful class, everyone. Let's go ahead and start to gently warm up through the wrists by just reaching your arms up overhead, Having a soft bend to the elbows and just rotating at the wrist a couple times. A very important movement here to prepare for our class. Make sure that we have the adequate movement through our joints. Give them a nice good shake here. A lot of times I like to picture any little bits of tension or anxiety just kind of flicking from my fingers. When you're ready, coming into your table pose, finding a couple cat and cows here. It might be nice to kind of tap the toes onto the earth after sitting back onto the heels. Notice how that blood flow kind of rushes into the calves and arch of the feet. Inhale, arching the spine, gazing forward. Exhale, curling and rounding, pressing the floor away. Inhale, arch and open up through your chest. And now with the exhale, curl and round, open up through your upper back. So notice how when you open up with the arch, you can gaze forward, open your throat. And with the exhale, you can curl and round. And the more you push the floor away, the more expansive that upper back is becoming. Take these movements here. So in our yoga classes, we try to make sure that we hit all 6 movements of the spine through our warm-up. So that's 2 movements here, an arch and a curl. Coming back into a proper table pose. Now we're going to get the other 2 movements of the spine, which are twisting. So keep the right hand where it is. Inhale, left arm reaches up to the sky. And with the exhale, left arm threads through the window of the right arm. Inhale to peel it back up, reach and stretch. Exhale, thread. So now we're getting into the twistings here. Inhale, open up. Exhale, twist. This time, inhale, open up and start to take some big circles through that left arm. Gaze might follow on to the left fingertips. You're just almost rotating it like you're strumming a big guitar here. And this is also opening your chest up, so let this become organic. Take that in the opposite rotation, warming up our shoulder. Your elbow can be soft here. And returning back into your table pose. This time the left hand plants. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale, thread it through. Keep it moving. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. 2 more. Last one. Inhale, right fingertips up to the sky, and then start to create those big circles through the arm. And again, the gaze can follow any direction that feels right. Take it in the opposite rotation. Allow that elbow to be as bent as you please. And we all have different types of shoulder mobility, so just really listening to your body here. Beautiful. Eventually coming back into your table pose. And then we'll tuck the toes under, lift knees to just a hover so that we're engaging through our core for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the knees to the ground. We're going to rock the hips from side to side. So as you rock the hips over towards the left, you might even gaze over left shoulder. And then rock the hips over to the right, gaze over right shoulder. So now we're getting into 2 more movements of the spine to round us off. We're getting into those side stretches. So those are the 6 movements of the spine. Arch and our curl. Twist to the right, twist to the left, and side bends. Allow these to become some nice big hip circles, dropping the hips to one side and then the other. Finding some big sweeping movement throughout the pelvic bowl. And whenever you're ready, listen to your body. Let it carry you into the opposite rotation. No rush to arrive. And if you ever feel uneven on one side, just go ahead and even out the other side. Wonderful. Coming back into your table pose once you feel even on both sides, so no rush to arrive. Once you get there, we're finding a flat back. We're going to find a little bit more ab movement here. So tuck the toes under, lift the knees to just a hover. Choose to stay here, or we're going to walk this out a little bit. So right toes reach the back of your mat and return. Left toes to the back of your mat and return. We're trying to keep everything in the same exact location except the toes. So those shoulders, hips are staying exactly where they are. We're not relying on momentum to let this move us for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lower the knees to the ground. Come up onto our heels. Let's circle sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. At least it wasn't open, right? Let's do that one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Returning back into your table pose. Sucking the toes under, this time hips pull up and back. Downward facing dog. Start to pedal your feet here, bending in one knee at a time. Dropping one heel to the ground as you pick up the opposite heel. Just pedaling your dog out here, getting some movement. This is presumably the first downward facing dog of your day. So we want to make sure that we go nice and easy on ourselves. Notice if you're kind of crunching the shoulders up towards the ears, and imagine yourself like you're this little turtle kind of peeking its head out of its shell. So you got to roll those shoulders down and away from the ears. I love that metaphor of a little turtle poking its head out of its shell. Really kind of allows my muscles to understand what I'm trying to do. So a lot of us are more visual, so we need to have a visual or something like that for our movements. Let's engage our core even more here. So with the inhale, we're bending the knees to a hover, finding a bent knee dog. And then with the exhale, we're using that spring-like energy to press forward into our plank, making sure those shoulders don't go past the wrists. Inhale, bent knee dog, hips pull up and back, engage through the thighs. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale is a pulling back. Exhale, plank. And know that you can always do these movements with the knees on the ground. So finding a supported plank pose and then a child's pose. Take these for 5, 4, 3, 2, feel that warmth, right? And 1, hold in your plank pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Drop those knees to the ground. Keep that core engaged with the inhale. Exhale, slowly lower as the elbows point back. We're finding a low cobra version of our chaturanga. Inhale, peel the chest up. Chin is tucked. Shoulder blades come towards one another. Exhale, release. Let's find one more low cobra. Inhale, peel it up. Engage every part of the body. So all the way down to those toes are engaged. Lifting up with the chest. And exhale, release. Making your way back to your downward facing dog. Perhaps finding a table pose along the way. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, right leg reaches up for the sky. And with the exhale, curl knee to chest. Inhale, re-extend, right leg all the way up. Exhale, knee to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. In your runner's lunge, we're going to start this movement by dropping the left knee to the ground and finding some back and forth presses. So we're getting into the right hamstring as you press the hips back with the exhale. Inhale is a bending at the right knee and pressing the hips forward, getting a stretch to that left hip flexor. Take 2 more here. Depending on how fast you're going, that might be more than 2 or less than 2. Beautiful. Returning back to a proper runner's lunge, tuck the left toes under, pick your knee up. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart here, and then we're slowly lifting ourselves all the way up to a crescent lunge. Once you're in your crescent lunge, you might readjust here. And what I want to point out to you guys is that I want you to be on the back ball of the left foot. Make sure that that knee is tucked under just a touch so that you're finding a pelvic tilt. Beautiful. Inhale, arms reach up, extend through the legs. Exhale, dip and twist to the right. So left arm pulls forward, right arm back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dip and twist. 7 more. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. With the exhale, dip into that twist, hold here. Perhaps you drop the left hand onto right thigh and use that to open the chest up even more. Beautiful. Inhale, come all the way back to center. Lift and rise. Maybe your gaze reaches for the sky. And with the exhale, dial left heel down. Open up to that warrior two. In your warrior two, adjust as necessary. Stealing a drink of water. So in your warrior two, we're making sure that that right toe is facing for the front of your mat. And there's this energetic kind of pressing forward with the right foot. So you want to make sure that that bend is tracking the knee with the ankle on right side. And the back edge of the left foot is pressing for the back of your mat. This is your warrior two. Really rip the mat apart with that grip on the feet. Beautiful. Inhale, flip right palm, reverse that warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. We're going to find one more like this. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend, and hold here. So in that extended side angle, you might potentially drop that right forearm onto the thigh as a little bit of support and shelf for yourself. Wherever you are, press up out of your waist, press into your abdominal muscles to keep you lifted. This is a very active pose. This is a warrior pose, so we need to find that warrior energy here for 2 more breaths. Feel that little bit of struggle in this pose. This should be difficult. This is a difficult posture. Returning back to a warrior two, extend through the right leg, turn the toes in. We're going to find a quick goddess pose. So let the heels come in, toes come out. And I want to start this goddess pose by just kind of bouncing up and down a couple times. So you're going to notice that the deeper you go, the more pressure that puts on your hip flexors, right? So we're just kind of playing around and exploring where is the best spot for my goddess pose to be held. So you don't want to hold your goddess pose in that deepest expression because that's going to be way too much pressure on those hip flexors. What you want to do is come up just a little bit from that location right in the middle. Beautiful adjustments. From here, bringing the hands into a lotus mudra so the pinkies and thumbs come to touch. Inhale, rise with your lotus. Open it up to the sky. And exhale, return back to the start. Inhale, reach and grow up. Exhale, dip it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold in your goddess position. Tuck those hips under. Make sure the knees are tracking with the ankles. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just when you think you have nothing left in you, press even more down with those heels. Last breath. Inhale, rise all the way up. Turn the toes to face in. We're going to find a wide-legged position. Open your arms up into a T. Spread wide. And with the exhale, hinging from the hips, wide-legged forward fold. Take your time here, perhaps bending and extending from side to side, getting some gentle movements. I love taking this wide-legged forward fold as it's almost like a little detour from those difficult postures, taking a little moment to kind of come back to breath, find a nice deep stretch, And we're allowing the blood flow to come from the hips down to the head, getting a perspective shift. Last breath here. All right, we're going to come into a halfway lift and then start to walk the hands over towards left foot. So we're coming towards the back of our mat. If you need a block, you can go ahead and grab a block to come with you. Should have mentioned that before. So now we're in a runner's lunge on the left side. The left ankle is stacked right below left knee. We're going to bring the right fingertips onto our block and then open up to a twist to the left. So those left fingertips reach up for the sky. Make sure the hips are level here. And we're allowing that twist to come from the right rib cage over towards the left rather than letting those hips come along for the journey. Breathe in deeply and let it go. Last one here. Stay with it. Beautiful. Exhale, come back to center. Plant your hands. Step left foot back to meet right. Plank pose. Breathe it in. Exhale, chaturanga, either lowering those knees or keeping them lifted. Find that halfway lower. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. So now we're facing the back of our mat. Have a little shift around. If you need a drink, you can drop your knees to the ground and take a little drink of water here. I'll allow it. You guys know you can always have water whenever you want. So we're getting a lot of twists in our class today to lead up to our peak pose of the day, which is a revolved half moon pose. So we're going to get into that together. But we got to even it out, right? You got to find that on the other side. So I'm just going to flip around so my face is towards the front of the room, but you guys stay where you are. Inhale, left leg reaches up for the sky. Exhale, curl knee to chest. Inhale, reach it back up, sweep it long, engage the glute. Exhale, knee to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. Starting our runner's lunge by dropping the right knee to the ground and finding those back and forth presses. So this is one of my favorite things to do, this dynamic movement before entering any deeper lunge postures. I really feel like it gets the hip flexor and it gets the hamstring. What's not to love about this movement? And it's so versatile. You can take it with blocks underneath the hands. You can even take it with the right knee lifted. You don't even have to drop it if you don't want to. Find one more. And then we'll return back to a proper runner's lunge. So plant the hands down or on your blocks. Tuck right toes under, lift the knee up. And then bring the hands to the heart, slowly and with control, lifting all the way up, crescent lunge. Once you find your crescent lunge, you might realize that you might need to walk the feet a little bit closer together so you feel a little bit more balanced. Regardless of where your feet land, make sure they're hip distance apart and make sure that that back right knee is just slightly bent so that you're not arching through your pelvis, but you're nice and stacked. Inhale, arms and leg extend. Exhale, dip and twist to the left. So right arm pulls forward, left arm pulls back. Inhale to center. Exhale, dip and twist. In. And twist. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. Hold that twist as you dip down, twist open. Maybe the right hand places over the left thigh, opening your chest up. Last breath. Inhale, coming back to center. Reach long through the legs. Arms come up overhead. Maybe your gaze follows to open the throat. And exhale, dial right heel down, warrior 2. Yeah. So this is called a mandala on your mat. So a mandala is a big circle. So when you start at the front, turn to the side, and then turn all the way back around. We just made a little mandala. In your warrior two on the left side, left toes are facing the front, pressing firmly, energy pressing forward. Back of the right foot, energy pressing backward. So there's this contrast, almost like you're ripping the mat apart. This is like you're locking yourself into this posture. Breathe in, breathe out, connect to that warrior energy. Inhale, flip left palm, reverse your warrior. Exhale, extend your warrior. Last one here. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend and hold. If you need that left forearm on top of the thigh as a little support there, make sure you're pressing away and you're not dumping all of the weight here. So the main idea of this posture is that the lower body is locked into the earth and upper body is engaging through the abdominals and arms to stay lifted. Last 2 breaths. Really connect to the little tiny amount of struggle that this posture is and use that warrior energy to conquer it. Beautiful. Returning back to your warrior two. Lengthen through left leg. Let's find your goddess pose by bringing the heels in, toes out. Bouncing it a couple times. Find that location right in the center where you feel comfortable. So notice if I sink down really low, my hips are going to start to press back and I'm putting all of that pressure on my hip flexors. What I want to do is find that location and come up about halfway so that I'm really locked into this pose. We're going to hold here for 10, 9, 8. Press down with those heels. This is going to make you stronger. It's going to make your yoga practice so much healthier, more connected. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly rise. Turn those toes in, finding your wide-legged position. Inhale, open the arms up to a T. And perhaps, if you like, you might even drop the hands towards the lower back, either placing them on the sacrum or interlacing them and pulling the hands down. Open your throat and heart. And exhale, slowly hinging forward. Now, I want you to keep that grip if it feels good, but if it's no longer serving you, ditch it. We're going to try to extend the knuckles, so we're using that grip. Instead of letting it drop behind the head, I want you to imagine as if you're pressing your knuckles up against the ceiling. So when we drop our hands behind, now we're just kind of crunching our shoulders and neck. But when we lengthen up, we're getting this beautiful heart, throat, chest opener. This is also a beautiful stretch for the upper back. We're getting a little bit of a crunching in. And then as soon as we release this grip, which we will do shortly, you're going to find this tremendous amount of blood flow into the fingertips all the way to the shoulders. Beautiful. Go ahead and release that grip. Bring the hands down to the mat or blocks. Notice that little bit of tingling through the arms. So there's all these sensations that are constantly happening, but they're just subtle enough that sometimes we need to be reminded of them because we're constantly, we're living in this body. We're feeling all of this. Coming into a halfway lift. And then walking the hands over towards the right foot for a runner's lunge. Making sure you have a block for the left hand to place upon. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Healthy bend through that right knee. Left fingertips stay upon your block and you open up with the right fingertips to the sky. So you're finding your runner's lunge twist on the right side. Keep those hips level. To do that, to access the hips being level, you need to press really firmly through that right foot. Back foot is pressing for the back of the mat. So there's this contrast again. Last inhale. With the exhale, slowly come back. Both hands plant. Step that right foot back, plank pose. We're going to pause here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll forward on the toes. Slowly find your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or a low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice here to find a quick little break and grab a drink of water. You can drop the knees to the ground for a moment or remain as you are. We're going to come into our peak pose of the day, which is our balancing stick pose and then a balancing revolved half moon. So we'll get into all of that. Break it all down. I don't think I've ever done a revolved half moon or triangle pose on our live feed, so let's go for it. Eventually coming back to your downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, shake the head yes and no. Just kind of recalibrate. Bend the knees, gaze forward, prepare with the inhale. Exhale, slowly hop or walk to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Shake the head yes and no. Let's indulge in this little forward folds for 2 breaths. Preparing for the challenges that lie ahead. Noticing all the beautiful benefits you're doing for your body. Inhale to a halfway lift. Lengthen through your crown, fingertips towards the shin. And exhale, fold. Inhale, circle, sweep, arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's ground down here. Make sure that you have a block at the front of your mat. So somewhere where you can reach it towards the front of your mat. What we're going to do is we're going to actually walk ourselves to the back of our mat. Inhale, arm circle, sweep up. And then we're going to interlace the hands so that we're kind of doing a little gun. A little, the pinkies touch and the thumbs touch. So we're reaching up. Relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. And try to gently press the pelvis forward so that you're really in one line. Taking the right foot and stepping it forward. And then hinging so that we're in this balancing stick pose. So that left foot is flexed and reaching for the back of the room as your fingertips extend forward for the front of your room. Now, if this isn't comfortable for your shoulders, you can release your grip and simply just reach your arms separated from one another to the front of your room. Keep that chest gently lifted. Gaze is about, I would say, a foot or so in front of your right foot. Breathe in, breathe out. This is a great pose for our blood flow. Last breath. Beautiful. With the exhale, I want you to start to bring the left knee in towards the chest. Give it a little squeeze by interlacing the fingers on left shin, potentially rotating at the ankle. Beautiful. Bring your hands to your heart. Step that left foot back so it's towards the back of your mat in a pyramid position. So both feet are grounded here. Feet are hip distance apart, if not just a smidge more. We're going to take our block and make sure that it's toward about 6 inches in front of the right foot, but it's going to be in front of left foot. So it's kind of over to the left. Beautiful. Yeah, that probably wasn't the best way to describe that. Bring your hands to your hip. Inhale, open up through your heart. Exhale, hinge forward for a pyramid pose. Now from here, you can bring your hands onto the block and just kind of rest down. We're going to be here for a breath or so. Make sure there's a little bit of contrast of the right hip pulling back as left hip presses forward. Make sure we're not hyperextending through those knees. Take another breath here. Beautiful. We're going to come into a halfway lift. So this is where we're going to start to use our block. So the left hand comes onto your block. We're finding this halfway lift. And then we're going to bring right hand towards the hip. So we're starting to find this revolving triangle position. From here, we're going to start to twist the left rib cage over towards the right. So try to keep those hips level. Hips aren't moving. Simply the upper body and the rib cage is twisting. Depending on your shoulder mobility, you might even reach that right arm up to the sky. It's not necessary here. And you can choose to say exactly here, or you can start to reach the left foot up off the ground. You might have to walk that block a little bit more forward. because now we're kind of reaching our chest a little bit more forward. For me, my shoulders don't really like when I reach my fingertips up to the sky, so I'm going to keep my right hand on my hip. Flex left foot. We're trying to twist the upper body over towards the right, but keep the hips level. Very challenging pose. This is your balancing half moon in a revolved position. Last breath here. Beautiful. With the exhale, come out of it the same way you went into it. So drop that left foot to the ground. Relax in your pyramid pose for a moment. Let your fingertips just land to a block or the ground. Beautiful. And then bring your hands to your heart. Slowly lift all the way back up. Stepping right foot back to meet left. Shake it out. So the more we come into these postures, the more they become easily accessible for the body. So if that was your first time in a while or the first time ever taking that balancing revolved half moon, don't stress about it, right? It'll probably even be better on this side now that you know what we're coming into. Inhale, arms sweep up. And either interlacing the hands and keeping the pointer finger extended, or maybe you prefer just having the arms open for your shoulders. Stepping that left foot forward and then hinging on the hips, reach that right leg up for a balancing stick pose. Keep that right foot flexed, try to keep the hips level. So if that right hip wants to start to pick up, dial that right hip down. Keep a micro bend through the left leg so that you're protecting your joints. Feel that blood flow moving through the body. This is an excellent pose for your heart, for your vascular system, relying on your body to keep you lifted. Here's your last breath. Beautiful. Slowly and with control, start to take that right knee up to the chest. Very challenging. Interlace the hands on right shin and rotate at the ankle. Just remember how strong you're going to feel after this. You're going to feel like a whole new person. Bringing the hands towards your heart and then stepping the right foot back to come into the pyramid posture. So again, both feet are grounded, so we're not really in a lunge position. Both feet are grounded, feet are hip distance apart. Bring your hands to your hips and just kind of peel your chest open. Exhale, slowly hinging forward for a pyramid pose. Hands can come onto your block or maybe relax down. We're going to make sure that the block is over in front of the right foot this time. Take a moment in your pyramid pose to just shake the head, yes and no. Just really relax down. And this is where we want to start to feel how the hips can stay level. So the left hip has to kind of press back as right hip pulls forward to really even those hips out. We're going to keep that same energy through the hips as we move through our poses. Come into a halfway lift. Bring your right fingertips onto your block. This is your inhale. Bring your left hand to your hip. And this is where you start to gently start to rotate right rib cage over towards the left and start to maybe gaze over towards the left. So we're finding this gentle twisting from the upper body, and everything from the hips down is staying exactly where it is. Maybe that left arm reaches up for the sky, but again, my shoulders don't really feel that great in that position. Staying here or coming into a balancing revolved half moon by walking that block a little bit more forward so that you can start to extend the chest forward and pick the right foot up off the ground. So again, we're not dumping all of our weight into that block. We're using our legs and abdominals to keep us lifted, finding a gentle twisting here. So I think as Dima would say in her class, this is a bitch of a twist, right? This is not easy. We can use that word for difficult things. Let's keep twisting. Last breath. Beautiful. Let's come out of it the same way we got into it. Let that right foot land towards the back of your mat. Drop everything down for your pyramid pose. Relax your head, neck, chest. Bring your hands to your heart and slowly, with control, start to rise up. Left foot steps back to meet right. Let's shake it off. Windshield wiper from side to side. I don't know about you guys, but that definitely made me work up a little bit of a sweat here. So now it's time to flow to the ground. So you guys can follow me here. Let's walk to the top of our mat. Press the feet into the ground. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart, forward fold. Inhale as a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Hands plant, step it back to your plank pose. We're going to hold here, and we're going to find some rotating through our side plank. So drop the heels over towards the right, lift the left arm up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale to your center plank. Rock the heels over towards the left, reach the right fingertips up. Inhale. Exhale, center. Heels over to the right, left arm picks up. Inhale. Exhale, center. Heels to the left, right arm reaches up. Inhale. Exhale, center. This time, heels drop over towards the right, left arm picks up. We're holding in our side plank here. You can stay exactly as you are, or maybe you take the left toes behind you for a little bit of support. If you're looking to bump this up a notch, maybe you take some leg lifts and lower with that left leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return back to your center plank. Take an inhale. Exhale over to the left. We got this. Right arm picks up. Again, you might take those right toes to the back of your mat or pulse here for 5, 4, 3, 2. We got this. 1. Go to your center plank and slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Beautiful, maybe windshield wipering feet from side to side with a bend in the knees. Woo, feel that heartbeat on the ground. That is your life force energy. We just captured that and used it to carry us through our practice. What a beautiful gift we have to just turn that on. Use our internal warmth, our internal strength to carry us through these magical postures. All right, you guys, we're going to come into a quad stretch. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on Sunday. I'm going to have Mirari go into a classic quad stretch, which is bringing that right forearm underneath the head, bending left knee and grabbing onto foot or ankle, and really lengthening that left knee towards the back of the mat. Yeah? Okay. I'm going to show you guys the quad stretch that I took on Sunday that a lot of you guys actually really loved. So this is a quad stretch that you do with, you prop yourself up, sit onto the heels, and then simply start to walk your fingers back. So this is destination number 1. You might already start to feel that quad stretch. If you have very open quads and you want to get a little bit deeper, yeah, so I'm just showing them a different option. So you can switch at any point that you'd like, Mirari. You can switch those legs. Another option might be placing a block underneath the hips, letting the heels come out to the side a little, and slowly lowering down. Now, the biggest expression of this posture is removing any prop and letting those heels come to the side a little bit so the hips can sink in between the heels, and then slowly coming all the way down, maybe coming onto forearms, or maybe lengthening all the way down to the ground. This is your fixed, firm pose. Wherever you are, let's take 3 more breaths. If you feel uneven on one side, you can take it again on the other side. I just like that we have 2 models so that we can really show you guys all the different variations of quad stretch. If you are in a fixed firm pose like myself, to come out of it, you really want to slowly kind of creep yourself up. Mirari, you can release the legs and windshield wipe your feet from side to side. And if you were in your fixed firm pose, I'd like you to visit a child's pose. So slowly just letting yourself hinge forward. We're going to go ahead and flip ourselves over onto our backs. So take your time to arrive there. Once you're there, lengthening the legs down the mat, reaching the arms up overhead, finding a nice full body stretch. Pulling the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze here. Perhaps a little gentle sway from left to right. Dropping the soles of the feet to the ground. Crossing right ankle over left thigh for a figure 4 pose. I like to start this off by opening my arms up into a T and gently rocking from side to side. Just letting that whole shape drop to the left and then drop to the right. I find this is such a beautiful dynamic movement before entering a more intense holding and stretching of the posture. This is a great lower back movement as well as we're getting into the inner and outer thighs and hips. Eventually you'll find a location where you want to hold this a little longer, perhaps somewhere along the journey, or perhaps interlacing the hands behind left thigh and pulling the shape in towards the body. Whatever you choose here, this is a pose that you guys are pretty familiar with at this point of your yoga practice, I'd be willing to bet. So this is an opportunity where you can explore even more, take some different movements. Tell me what feels good, let me know. I'll try it too. And that's the beauty of yoga, is that this is such an ancient practice, yet still I'm learning new things about it every day. And that's through the community that we're learning these things. Eventually coming out of this pose, take it to the other side. So right sole of the foot to the earth, left ankle crosses over right thigh. Start this process by swaying left to right. And even as I'm teaching, before this happened in a physical class, I would always see students doing something new that would inspire me to bring that into my classes. So this is a collective intelligence that we can share with one another. Eventually choosing to go deeper in one direction or the other, perhaps in that swaying motion, or interlacing the hands behind right thigh, pulling the shape in towards the body. Be gentle with yourself here. Make sure that that lower back does not start to curl up off of the ground. You want to keep all parts of the spine on the earth for this one. Releasing out of this pose, bring both soles of the feet to the ground. I'd like to take one last little core engagement here. So we're going to start by allowing the knees to stack above the hips and bringing the shins parallel to the ceiling. Beautiful. Place your palms on the thighs, and I want you to press the palms into the thighs, but thighs are not going to move because they're so engaged, and there's a pulling up with the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor are the muscles that control the flow of urine in your lowermost belly and abdomen. And this is being very tightly engaged because you're using the contrast of trying to push your lower body away from you and pulling the lower body back in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release the feet to the ground and rock the knees from side to side. Beautiful. Eventually letting the knees drop over to the right, finding your reclining twist here. You might choose to gaze over towards the left. You might also choose to stack the right ankle over left thigh to open up through a little bit more of a side bend and hip opening posture. 3 deep breaths here in your reclining twist. And it's so important that we understand what the pelvic floor muscles feel like because it's a huge foundation in most of our yoga poses, especially those balancing poses. And if you are someone who wants to learn how to do any handstands, forearms, headstands, stuff like that, you need a very strong pelvic bowl connection. Bring the knees back to center, both soles of the feet to the ground, and then drop them over towards the left. Again, taking any modifications that you like here, perhaps taking that left ankle up over right thigh. Coming back to center, taking any last posture of your choice. So do a quick scan in the body and let that just kind of be your guide. It doesn't even have to be a yoga pose with a name to it. It can simply be something that just feels lovely. Eventually, we will come into our final resting posture, but take your time to arrive. Let a wave of breath come over you. Let that soften you into your mat. And the other day, I believe I witnessed a baby robin taking its first flight. And for a moment, it took a little break on the roof of my car, and I was able to kind of admire it. And I kind of took a rest, took a couple breaths, kind of got itself back together, and then it flew off. And what it reminded me of is our relationship to fear and change. When you think about it, these little baby birds, all of a sudden one day, have to just jump, open their wings and go for it. And you can imagine the fear that that little chick has. And we experience fear in a very similar way. Fear of change. All the what ifs that we run through our head. But what happens when we take that leap of faith? What happens when we jump and open the wings? You fly, you soar to new heights. Even how difficult it is, you learn from that process and that journey. Just like the baby bird. And even once the scary part's over, once you take that first jump, you might have to take a rest, like that little bird did on my car. And then you continue. Open those wings again. Take flight. So the next time you're faced with a challenge or a change in your life, imagine yourself as this little baby bird, the edge of the nest. take that flight. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and let it go. And as you expand your breath, start to engage in some movement in the toes and fingers, letting your awareness kind of flutter back into your physical body. Perhaps pulling the knees in towards the chest and giving yourself a little hug. And taking whatever journey you'd like to bring yourself back into your seated position. Taking your time to arrive. Once you're there, bringing your hands over your heart. Befriending that little bird, that little baby bird within you that might need a little extra push towards the edge. And through these challenges, through these changes, is when we grow the most. And when we truly realize what is important. And what is important? I believe our biggest duty here is to spread love unconditionally. And most importantly, respect one another. I'd like to seal our practice in with the sound of Om together. And as we take this Om, I just want you to conjure up everything within you and send as much love as possible out into this universe with this Om. Let's take a cleansing breath to prepare. In and out. With this inhale, pull in all of that love. That first breath after Om symbolizes a bright new beginning. Thank you all for being a part of this journey together. And the love and respect within my heart honors the love and respect within yours. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for being a part of another live flow with us this morning. I really appreciate seeing all of you guys tune in. I hope you have a bright, beautiful day. It looks gorgeous outside. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for another flow. If you guys have any recommendations for poses or anything, please let me know. You know where to find me. Take care, you guys.